Hi, I'm Valentine Palmer from the Academy of Communication, and I just want to take a minute to talk to you about pitching and presentation. Now, what's the difference between a pitch and a presentation, you may ask? Well, we tend to think of a pitch as when you sell and a presentation as when you tell. Now, I tell you straight away that I've got a thing about selling. I think that the smart way to actually sell is not to sell. Because a lot of people, particularly we British, don't like to be sold to. So the best way to actually tell us about yourself or your product or your service or your company, whatever you want us to know about, in a short space of time, because a pitch tends to be shorter than a presentation. If you want to tell us about that, why not wrap it up in a story? I, once upon a time, not so long ago, was a screenwriter. And I went to Hollywood on more than one occasion. And what I learned there was how they put successful movies together. They put movies together in 3 acts. Act 1 is the setup, where you meet the hero, the heroine, the villain. You know what kind of movie it is, where it's taking place. Act 2, where you go into the story proper, and you go on a roller coaster ride of exciting challenges for your hero or heroine, until we get to the 3rd act, which we call the wrap-up, where all the strands of the story have to come together, pay off, be settled, and finished. Because no audience likes to go out of a cinema with too many questions in their mind, to go out unsatisfied. And that's the secret of successful movies. I'm not saying great movies, that's the secret of successful movies. So that's something you can use, the 3-act principle. You can use that when you're putting together a little pitch that's only going to last, say it's only going to last a minute. You can still have, hi, my name is what we do. And for instance, we had a client who, and this is what we did for him, and we were able to not just only solve his problem, we exceeded his expectations. And then just remind them, by the way, this is who we are, and this is the kind of thing we like to do. That, you could do that in a minute. Or if you're doing a big presentation to a big audience, then you've got to think a bit bigger. You've got to set up what you're going to tell them, and why it's going to be so interesting. Then you've got to get into a story or a series of stories that exemplify what it is you want the audience to know or be informed about or to learn. And then you've got to pay it off by reminding them what you've told them. And it's the old principle. You've heard the one about tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you just told them. Now, that's one way, briefly, of going about designing a pitch or presentation. But that's the design. What about the delivery? How do we deliver a pitch or a presentation? Well, it might be a written pitch, a written presentation, in which case you can develop the principle I've just talked about with the 3 acts. But suppose you've got to stand up there and deliver it. This scares a lot of people stiff. And why? Because they're not sure how they're going to be perceived. And only practice can make you sure how you're going to be perceived. And what is it we use to deliver our presentation or our pitch? Our voice. You know, most people actually speak far too fast, and most people speak far too quietly. Because the only voice that you've heard all your life, more than anybody else's, is in your own head. Your own voice. And it sounds fine in here. I can talk very quietly and I can understand everything I'm saying, but you probably can't quite hear what I'm saying. And because we know what we're going to say next, usually, hopefully, because we know what we're going to say next, what happens is that we talk very fast. But remember, the person who's receiving your pitch, your presentation, they're hearing it for the very first time. So you get a thought in your head. You get a picture of what you want them to think or understand. Then you use these series of wonderful sounds that you put together that we call words and sentences, and it takes it towards the person you're presenting to. Their ears catch it, take it into their brain, and turn it into what? The thing you wanted them to know. That's how you get the thought in your brain into someone else's brain, or a whole load of people if you're talking to a big audience with a presentation. But how do you make sure that it's a powerful and persuasive presentation with the voice? You have to get enough air in. Do you know that we pay a lot for electricity and gas and all sorts of things and petrol? And air is the one thing that's free. But do we make use of that? Many of us don't. We don't make full use of the air that's free. We don't get enough air in and breathe enough air out. And that's really rather silly, particularly when it comes to presentation. Because you actually need to get enough air in and control how it comes out. So you push your words, your phrases, your very, very precious information out on a cushion of air. Now, if you were to watch an opera singer or an orator or a Shakespearean actor, they don't breathe through the nose because there's a limit to how much air you can get into these tiny little holes, these nostrils. They breathe in through the mouth. So the first thing you would have to do is learn to get enough air in the mouth and then be able to push it out. Look, I suppose being a screenwriter, I started my career as an opera singer, okay? So if I had breathed in when I was singing opera, or if I was on the concert platform, if I breathed in through my nose, your tiny hand is frozen, let me warm it, I couldn't get anything out. But if I breathe in through the mouth and I get plenty of air in and control how it comes out, your tiny hand is frozen, let me warm it into life. Okay, I'm not going to sing anymore. Relax. So, things to remember. How to put your presentation, your pitch together in 3 acts. The beginning, the middle, and the end. The setup, the story, the payoff. How to deliver your presentation in a powerful and persuasive fashion using your voice, but using your voice with a controlled cushion of air that you send it out to. Lots more tips, tricks, and techniques that I'd like to share with you about pitching and presentation and your voice and all these exciting things that really do help you to tell other people about your business, and about your product, and about your service. So find me at www.academyofcommunication.com. Speak to you soon. Bye.